Hi, my name is Dolores Alvarez, and this is the Lose Your Sense Challenge project video for Mr. Fortune's Psych1-L03 class. Well, in order to lose my sight temporarily, of course, I had got a regular cotton t-shirt. It was just like a white t-shirt, but it was like men's size, so it was really big. It wasn't kind of thin like how women's shirts are. And I had rolled it up, and then I had somebody like tie it behind me and blindfold me for a short amount of time, maybe for about an hour. After that, the person went ahead and grabbed a few Powerade flavors, and they were going to try to have me guess them. So by losing my sense of sight, I had to really use my sense of taste to kind of figure out what kind of flavor it was, because usually you can tell what flavor it is by the color of the bottle, or the bottle will say it on it. But I had to strictly rely on my sense of taste to figure out what flavor it was. The first flavor that I tried tasted really tangy. My taste buds were reacting to it almost like a sourish way, so that led me to believe that it was a lemon lime kind of flavor, which I was correct about. The second flavor was a little bit tricky just because it tasted very similar to the first flavor, and I had guessed that it was fruit punch, and I was wrong. It was actually orange, but it's kind of close. The second experiment that we kind of tested out was, it still had to do with taste, but instead of tasting drinks, I was tasting different foods, which I was kind of nervous about because I was scared that the person helping me was going to give me something that I didn't like, or something that was kind of more of like as a joke, just to like mess with me. The food that I was given first was kind of wet, and it really freaked me out because I'm like, okay, what is this? Why is it wet, and why is it going into my mouth? And then I recognized the flavor, and at first I was really confused because I knew what flavor, like I knew the flavor profile. I couldn't for the life of me think about what it was until I asked for another piece, and when I ate it the second time, I realized that it was cantaloupe, which was a big relief because I was scared that it was something nasty or something weird or gross. Okay, so the second thing that I tried, I was kind of really confused about what it was because it was also wet, and I could also tell that it was either like some kind of fruit or vegetable, and it had like a weird taste to it. But I was really able to tell what it was eventually because my lips started tingling and itching a little bit, so that meant that I was allergic to it. So then that cut it down a lot to like a list of maybe 3 things. It was tomato. So it wasn't the person's fault. They didn't know that I was slightly allergic, but I'm not like deathly or fatally allergic to tomatoes, so it wasn't really a big deal. It was just a surprise that I wasn't expecting, I guess. Oh, another experiment that we tested out was the person was going to go hide somewhere in the room. Not really hide, but kind of stand somewhere in the room that we were in, and they would either call my name or say something, but only one word. And I would have to try to figure out where they were. So instead of using my sense of sight, I had to kind of feel and touch around where I was and really listen extra to where I could feel that they were, I guess. Strictly relying on my hearing and my sense of direction almost. I had to figure out where the person was in the room, and I did that about 5 times. I only failed once, which is pretty surprising. So 4 out of 5 times I found them. Overall, the experience was super interesting because I really realized that every time the person either left the room to go get another thing for us to try out, or for me to kind of figure out what it was, I felt kind of nervous because if I were to get up or if I needed something, I wouldn't be able to know where it was. If there was anybody in the room with me, I wouldn't be able to know. I felt really reliant on the other person. I also noticed that I got really excited when the person would come back because then I wouldn't feel so alone and so like nervous about being by myself, because I was afraid that like I might hurt myself somehow, but I was just sitting down to, basically there wasn't really any way for me to hurt myself. Usually I like doing things on my own, even if it's just little things. I like being really independent about it. So the fact that I had to rely on somebody else was kind of hard for me because I don't usually like doing that, especially if the other person is a male. I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me. I like doing things on my own, and I don't like depending really on anybody. So to have to put somebody almost like in charge of me and in charge of taking care of me and take responsibility for me and make sure that I was safe during the experiment was kind of hard for me too, because I would have known that I'm allergic to tomatoes, and I wouldn't have ate that, but because they didn't know and they fed it to me, I had an allergic reaction, so that was very interesting. It was really hard, but I also had a really fun time doing the experiment, and I learned a lot about how my senses don't really amplify, but I just use them a lot more, and I'm so much more dependent on them because I don't have my vision. So yeah, that is all I did, and thank you for watching my video.